Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Shaniva Earlier Craft Doctor, and I'm here with a mini haul and testing out some products. So you can see right here, I have this yarn ball winder, and I want to test it out compared to this. Back here, this yarn ball winder. This one came from Hobby Lobby. This one came from Amazon. I tested out the this one a couple of days ago and it just did not work for me, so I bought this one. And so now I'm trying to test it out and see if it was the user error or was just the actual machine that just is not working for me. So how you use this, and I have some yarn that I was working on a project with that I need to rewind because I had to frog my project, and frog means I had to take it apart because I messed up. So I want to rewind it, and so I just bought this. I love this yarn because one of the websites or YouTube that I went on talked about how great this yarn was, and so I really wanted to try it out. And so I got a few colors, as you can see, and I need to wind all of these up. But this test is to test this out. Okay, so you put it through this thing here, and then you come back and you put it on here. And then what I do to give it a little bit more tension, I feed it through this finger and I bring it back around through this finger, like I wrap it around my hand to give it some extra tension. Because when I used it before, the tension was the ball was not tight enough for me based off just this tension. Let me see. Yeah, I can already tell it's not going to be. So I know it's not, so I'm not going to play with it. Okay. Because I like my yarn balls to have some tension to them and not be loose. So then when they unravel, they won't when they unravel, they won't fall into themselves so quickly because they're so loose, which will make them it'll make them um, collapse and get tangled. Okay, so this yarn is called I Love This Yarn, and it's a 5 millimeter yarn, and I'm using it to make my hats for Hats Not Hate campaign. The color is marbled denim. There's 252 yards on here, and as I said, it's a number. Oh, this did real well because it was balled up on the floor, and so it done caught up. And the ball is very tight, but I know the ball is tight because I'm making sure of that. See, I have to stop fooling around with it. Okay. I know that the ball is tight because I'm using my hand for the tension. Okay, so now we're back to this part where it's feeding directly from this yarn ball. I mean, from the yarn. Okay, so one thing I know is I have to keep a grip on it while it's working or it'll start unraveling. But this ball is a tight ball. You want it to come up to, there's some lines here. You don't want it to start hanging over or the yarn will start coming off. So you only do it towards to that last line. And I'm almost there. Okay, that's a solid. Can you see that? That is a solid cake. Okay, and then all you do is pull up, and slide off. And so that's the cake. Okay. And so you see how I'm pulling this back? I'm pulling it back off that edge. But that made a really nice cake. Okay, let's cut this and do the other half because it looks like it only will ball up about 100 um sew yards, because this was 252. Okay, so let's see, this should take it all the way to the end. Let me put my little, yeah, this should take it all the way to the end. Let's see. If it don't, we know we're not getting that extra probably 50 yards in there. What's going on? Oh, it didn't. Let me wrap this so it won't be in my way. Trying to allow it for it to catch. It caught it. Okay. And that's the center pull. So I have to make sure when I finish doing this that I pull that center pull back out, or you won't be able to find it. Something is telling me that I will be able to finish this whole piece. So you can at least say it'll take about 125 yards, give or take. See, this is not as tight as that. Because I messed up in the beginning. See, it's not tight. That's tight. Okay. But look how great it did it. It did a good job. It's just too soft for me. So what I'm gonna do is stop fooling around, because if you mess up and not get it tight like it's supposed to, it's going to collapse on itself. So you see how quickly it allowed me to wind it up. But see how I'm holding it, and then I'm giving my own tension. I hate not working from the center. Let's see if I can find that center piece that I wrapped in there. Trying to see if I can find that center starting point, because of course I wrapped it all up in here. I don't even see it because I have two pieces. Oh, and then wrapped around. Okay, let me find my center point and I'll be right back. Okay, I found my center point and I just wrapped it on there. And so let's see. You're supposed to start out pretty slow and then you can pick up some speed. I'm just letting this go straight through my fingers to give it some more tension. And yeah, the tension is much better when I put it through my finger like I'm supposed to. And you may not have to do this. You might like not a tight ball the way I really just like a tight ball, or this might just be how my machine works. So make sure that you figure it out when you get it. Don't just take my word for it, because mine may be just different and it not be a problem. Okay, and it may be based off the kind of yarn you're using and that type of thing. Let's see, all of my yarn is tangled up, and now here we go. Feed it through. I'm holding it, and yeah, oh, I love the way that ball feels. And I'm almost back to where I was before. See, my yarn is tangled up, but it's not too bad. I'm almost back to where I started. And see, and I like for you to see these things, because this is the kind of stuff that you have to deal with when you're working with your products. And sometimes we have to see this. And when stuff get knots and tangled, it's annoying because it'll wrap around something or catch on something and tangle, and woo-wee, it'll cause you to have a headache like it's caught up right now. Okay, let me pause you so I can untangle this, and I'll be right back. Okay, that didn't take me but less than a minute. Okay, let's go. Okay. And tangles is just a plight of yarn. It's what happens. Come on. There we go. Okay, now I'm pulling, or you can't see that, it's coming directly out the center of that ball. And look how tight that is. So much better. So do what works for you in order to get it to work, and for your yarn balls to be tight or as loose as you want it. This is a 5 worsted weight, and you see how much more room I have by tightening up my tension. And I'm tightening up my tension. It has a tension thing, but I'm doing that by holding it with my hand. And I'm not holding it, I'm letting it slide through. That is providing extra tension. It's just providing a little bit of extra tension in order for it to flow, because if not, it would be, the ball would be very loose. And you seen the first ball was very fat, and this one is much tighter. Come on. And it's annoying because sometimes you get these knots and you be like, I'm gonna cut this off. But you don't want to lose your product. This is your product to make your project with, and so you don't want to lose, you know, that 2 yards could make a difference in if you get your project done. See that? And I'm almost done winding. And this part right here, I don't like. I felt it being unruly, and what did it do? It slipped off the thing. I know I felt it. Okay, so all I'm gonna do is take this and slide it back on there. Okay, and then I'm gonna let it go, and I'm gonna stop there. And this is the reason why I'm gonna cut it off right here, because this is for the hats and I hate, and I need to know what color this is. So if somebody say, oh, I want to make some, but where did you get that color from? I have it, and I'm going to write all of this stuff down, the lot number and everything. We have a master book we're using, so keep track of what you're using. And so look at this and that. Look how you can tell. When you're done, take this piece and just tuck it in a couple of strands so you don't got hanging on the outside. But here is your, let me put that back where it go. Okay, now, and then pull up, and you got your center. I see a piece hanging down. All you do is just put it back on there. There you go. And look at that, 2 full balls of yarn. So I would imagine that this winds up about 100 to 100 yards of yarn. That's what my take, based on 5 millimeter weight, a number 5, based on the fact that this has 252, we can safe to say it's about 125 on each ball. Okay, I'm gonna put this out the way. So then when I go to make a hat and I use one ball, I know what it is. Okay, so then I'm going to, oh, this thing came with a umbrella shaft. Also, that's this thing here, umbrella shaft. So when you have those nice dyed yarns, you can use that umbrella shaft. And then this didn't come solid. You want to take it a loose, just twist that into those little bitty I'm supposed to hold this plate, and you turn it so you can take this out. And this is all one piece. Okay, so this is how this came. And the reason why I even bought this, because you know I already have an electric one. If you've seen my videos, when I go to California for my daughter's friend's wedding, I'm taking my knitting with me, my loom knitting with me. And if I buy some yarn or something, I'll have a ball winder with me. Okay, now this piece. I was not successful with this the other day, but we're going to try it again. It could be user error, which means I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so this one comes as one piece, and it's straight, and it has just this table mount separately that goes right there. And I'm going to just screw it on my table like that. Okay, so we're gonna keep this right here out the way, and this was something else. I always like to pull out the center ball and start from the center, but I may have a problem on my hands because I pulled that whole center out the other direction. That's okay. That means I won't have the problem later on when I unwrap, because you'll see how I pull that center out and it's a whole piece of a center. All you do is unravel it, and as you unravel it, you'll get to that center. And all of the parts that I'm taking loose will then be on the floor or wherever you put it. I just put it on the floor by my chair. And it'll be easier to unwrap later, or when you wind it on your ball winder, because you already have that bunch. Okay, so see how easily it's coming loose, and it should come loose this easily. You may have a tangle somewhere, but it should come out generally very easily. Okay, see all of that? Okay, so this one is Royalty. It's called Royalty, the name of this color. And there is my center. And this one is a metallic. It is a number 5 also. It's a 97% acrylic and metallic. And it's 252 yards also. So I'm going to put this over here. And for this, you have this metal ring right here that you run it through. Okay, so you put it through that, and you put it through this. There's a notch right there, and there's one on the other side also. And you just turn. What I found with this one, excuse me, with this one, it was feeding yarn extra and coming over the edge, so it aggravated me, and I was like, this is crazy. And I need 2 ball winders, mainly because if I have help, then they can wind their own yarn, because we need to make about 300 hats for this project. It's going to the 6th and 7th graders at East Point Community Schools in East Point, Michigan. And we have about 200 and something students in that school. And I want to make sure the teachers also have them, because if they're going to be there and they're going to talk about bullying, they need hats too. Okay, let's see. That's nice. Now, the first time I used this, and I did a video on this, and I ended up deleting the video because I was just so frustrated because it was just not working. Something telling me it was user error. It was user error. Come on. Not now. Not now. I have a knot right here. You just have to know which one to pull the knot out. There we go. You just need to know which one to pull the knot out. Okay, and I'm still doing my same little holding because that allows for the tension. And this time, you see that? I was so frustrated when it did that, because I'm like, what is going on? But this time, I'm going to wind this on out and see if it's supposed to do that. I was so frustrated every time, but I'm thinking it might have supposed to did that to allow for extra, so the ball is wider, is what I'm trying to say. So let's see. Maybe I just was impatient. That wasn't my impatience. You see what I'm saying? You see that how it's hanging over to the side and it's about to come off? That ain't me. That's this ball winder. Yep, that's this ball winder. It's not supposed to do that. It is not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to have this. That was what my problem was with this ball winder. And I think it's because it's straight. And that's why it's doing that. So, y'all seen me. That's what happened. And you know what? I seen somebody else use this and it happened to them. And I just was like, that's what it is. But it's not. It's not supposed to do that. So we're going to put this right back in here. And I'm going to truck this baby back to Hobby Lobby because I do have the other one. So I might end up buying another one because I always have my electric one. Okay, so this is going back to Hobby Lobby. Where's the bag? Hobby Lobby bag. I don't know where it's at. I'll find it wherever it is and put it in the receipt. The other thing that I bought was this. This is the double knit loom from KB. This is what it is. $29.99. I got it on sale, 30% off. And this is what it looks like. So let me push you back this way so you don't have to keep looking at my floor, and back you up a little bit. Okay. And this loom, and I also bought there's another attachment to this, and this all comes loose. So it has like little legs that holds it in, and you can just push those pegs and pull it out. See, and it comes loose. And the front does the same thing. You just push the pegs inward. And it comes off. And these pegs come off also. Because this is the reverse of putting them on. You just put them on and listen. You hear that click? That's how you put them on. And then the attachment is for when you're making other stuff. And then you just match these up. and listen for the click. And you can use it with one, so I can just start making a hat and I don't have to hold this. Or I can use this double. And so if you wanted to just start, I'm going to just pull from the center on this. If you want to just start, there is an arrow at your starting point. You see that arrow probably faintly. This is where you can lace on. Do an anchor peg. Make it your anchor peg. Okay, and anchor. And then whatever you're going to do. So if you're going to knit one, purl two, or whatever, however you want to do it. The thing about this is for a more advanced knitter, loom knitter, because the spacing in between these are smaller. And so when the spacing in between it is smaller, it takes longer for a project to be made. So this is for someone who wants to use their loom and make a project, but it's going to take you longer to make it. What I'm using right now, this yellow thing, you can't see it, this yellow thing is a winder. It helps you wind your yarn around these small holes. I'm using a pencil to help push it down. See, to push my thread down in there. It's going to come out right at the other end, but sometimes it needs help. And so when you want to wrap your pegs, okay, so I'm going to make it my anchor, wrap around, and you get a cross. You see the cross? You see the cross? You bring this right back up between your fingers and pull it out, and you got an anchor. Put it on your anchor peg, cinch it in, and drop that down. Drop that down. And so then you use this to wrap. So I'm going to just E-wrap. And you see how quickly it's taking me to E-wrap? I can E-wrap much quicker with this than by hand. And once you get the hang of it, you really can go. You really can go. Okay? Now, if you want to do something double, you can do something double. And click. And there's an arrow right here. So if I wanted to wrap these pegs, I could wrap these pegs. And I would go, normally the stitch is go and do it every other. So I did it directly in front of me, and then I skip a peg and go back and forth, and you skip a peg. You leave one. And the reason for that is you end up with a crisscross. And it's every other peg will have a every other peg will have a piece of yarn on it. And you can do once you get the hang of it. I sometimes make a mistake, but looks like I'm good. You can look inside and see if every other peg. You can look here and see that every other peg. And this is how you cast on with this. But you see, I'm just doing it to show you how easily this is to do with this little thing. And you don't have to buy one of these. This has a tension gauge right here. You see the tension gauge there? This has a tension gauge to help you. So you just feed it in there and it gives you tension and helps you with your tension to make sure that you're putting it on good. And you don't have to use this. You know what you can do? You can go get you a ballpoint pen and use a ballpoint pen. So I'm going to go around that one, come around that one, which means these will have 3, and then start over and go into the ones that you didn't do before. And when you do that, You see everyone has one. You see how it's starting to make a crisscross? That's how you know that you're doing it right, because you're making a crisscross. And then you'll know how to get this the way you want it. And if you look inside, now everyone has one. You look outside, everyone has one. And that's just the beginnings of how to use this machine. Why are you down there? I'm talking to my computer system. I usually can see what's going on in my screen, what's live, and so it was in the wrong spot. Okay, so that's how you use this thing here, and it is called it's from Boy, and it's called a Loom Pen Tool, and I got it from Hobby Lobby for $3. You don't have to do that. Get you a ballpoint pen, the blue one, the gray ones, or black. I would say gray because you can see it better. But I also use my Crayola crayon set. It has the steel, the barrels just like this, plastic barrels, but they're straight, and they're Crayola. And I bought a pack of them just so I could take the innards out. Gave them to my grandkids, and now I have a whole bunch of winders that I can use anytime. And that's how you use this setup here. So that's what I wanted to come on and show you today, how to do this. Please join me for the Hats Not Hate campaign, and let's make hats for our youth. It will be, what did I do with that box? Oh, it will be you'll start seeing the video February 2nd-ish. I've already made my video for February the 2nd, but I'm going to have an additional one set up for that day for that particular event. So thank you so much for joining me, and I just wanted to show you what I have in my new yarn set up for the Hats Not Hate campaign. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.